they've actually done it. They've actually committed to getting Kirk on the shows of the new Paramount Plus Star Trek. Is this going to go like normal Paramount Plus Star Trek? Because it may be offensive and disgusting. It may even make you throw up, but at the end of the day, it will at least be entertaining on some level. Welcome into Voice of the Fat Mantis. We are dissecting the very heavy news that they have cast James T. Kirk in Star Trek Strange New Year, set to premiere on May 5th, which is only about 2.5 weeks away. Now, I know a lot of people think that this information is old news. It absolutely is. It's probably a month or two old, because actually set leaks revealed it at the end of the day. But I actually want to analyze what exactly is going on and talk about what they might be planning. Plus, now that we're headed into Strange New World season, I'm going to be reviewing and analyzing the show as much as humanly possible. Don't pretend like you don't like it. Don't pretend like you don't like it. I know you like it. But before we get into any details, I would love it if you liked, shared, and subscribed to Voice of the Fat Mantis. I, the Fat Mantis, need you. I need you all. I love you. You're beautiful. You're the only girl. But anyway, let's get into this. So it has been none other than Paul Wesley will be the new James Tiberius Kirk. At first I was like, I don't know who that is. It kind of went completely over my head. I wasn't excited. I wasn't in shock. I wasn't sure exactly what they were trying to pull off. If he looks familiar, it's because you like vampires and you're a sucker for romance, or maybe just the CW, because this beautiful heartthrob played Stephen Salvatore on Vampire Diaries. The poor sucker. He had the poor misfortune. Now, I'm not saying who wouldn't want to be on a CW show. Absolutely. Perfectly normal. However, he had a really bad situation, an emasculating one. He was in part of your typical vampire triangle. Usually these love triangles are cliche and done normally. And he played the good brother, the original brother, the first one to get with Elena. Okay, I dig it. However, the evil brother comes in, and as we know, she's supposed to spend time with the evil brother, realizing that she doesn't like bad boys and go back to the nice guy. But what ultimately happened is she stayed with the bad boy. That's right, Stefan got nothing. I think he wound up with a blonde. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, it's very emasculating, and he is supposed to be playing in Star Trek Strange New Worlds the second most masculine character Star Trek has ever had. Can this emasculated little beta be able to pull off the alpha that Kirk is? I'm not so sure about this. Does he have the look? You know what it is? This is very similar to the Solo situation. If you don't nail down the, unfortunately, impersonation. I know there's sometimes acting and there's impersonation, but we're going to need an impersonation of James T. Kirk. If you can't pull that off correctly, the entire piece falls apart. Actually been recently confirmed. The year it starts off in is 2259. So that should be around 6 years before James T. Kirk takes, canonically, the helm of the Enterprise and becomes the captain, which means we have about 6 official years, could be more years with time travel, that our man Captain Pike has to play around. This should be super interesting. I can't wait to see what they're doing, but what are they doing? Are they going to violate canon by letting him in? Because here's the thing. I love the Kelvin movies. I really, really enjoyed them. But at the end of the day, I probably would have preferred a J.J. Abrams produced film that stuck to regular canon, so we can say that is the story of James T. Kirk and the Enterprise. It could be a prequel, the adventure before the first episode with Kirk in it, but instead they decided to do their own thing. But we're going to actually go over Kirk's timeline and go over exactly what is available to the showrunner on this show. Now, what we have is Kirk was born in 2233 in Iowa. In 2250, at the age of 17, he would join Starfleet Academy. Kirk would graduate Starfleet Academy in 2254. Sometime after that, he was promoted to lieutenant and would serve as a tactical officer on the USS Farragut. In 2257, just 3 years into his career, the Farragut was attacked by a gaseous entity. A psychic attack led to the death of about half the crew, including the captain. Shortly after that, he would be promoted to lieutenant commander. And a year later, in 2258, he would meet Carol Marcus, who would later on become his lover. They would have a great love affair, and a year later, in 2259, his son would be born. Sometime after that, first and only command before the Enterprise, which is an unnamed destroyer-class vessel, which further explains the warlike fisticuffs tactics of Kirk. He served on a war vessel before the Enterprise, and then fatefully in 2265, he would take command of the USS Enterprise, and the rest is the 5-year mission, which apparently actually spans about 30 years if you count the movies and any other type of shenanigans they like to throw in there. So, where does this leave us? The show starts off in the beginning of 2259, meaning that this is around the time that he left Carol Marcus and his son would be born. So he has time to play, but he certainly can't join the crew. So what are they going to do on this one? Now, the leaked image that forced Paramount to admit that they had cast Kirk is a picture of Lan Noonien Singh, the security officer on Strange New Worlds, hanging out on set with Paul Wesley, the gentleman who's playing Kirk. So what does this mean? There's gonna be at least one Kirk-centric episode. Now, if you look in IMDb or Wikipedia, they say that Paul Wesley has been cast as Kirk, but they do not reveal the episode count. That plate is suspiciously blank. Now, usually if someone plays 1 or 2 episodes, they will admit guest starring Kirk or something, but they are keeping this zipped. Now, I would hate for them to somehow make James T. Kirk join early. We can't keep dodging true canon, so I have another theory. I believe that there will be at least one flashback episode. Lan Noonien Singh will reminisce about something she did in the past, and I think it's possible she served under a younger Captain Kirk, and then for at least one episode we get to see what that destroyer is and what type of shenanigans took place on there. Another theory that I have is it is actually possible, and I think this would be amazing, that if each season of Strange New World, they dedicate just one episode to Captain Kirk's continuing adventures, having nothing to do with Strange New Worlds. It's almost like the ominous looming of Captain Kirk on his way to his destiny. Wouldn't that be awesome if we just got one episode every season? I think it would be pretty cool. In further review, if you actually looked at some of the leaked footage of Paul Wesley with Lan Noonien Singh, you can see his actual badges now. Remember, back in the 23rd century, each individual ship had a different insignia badge for what they're doing, and it is clear that he does not have the later on mainstream Starfleet Delta as his symbol. It looks like he is clearly from another ship, and that's actually really relieving. If I had to compare it to other badges we've seen on the original Star Trek, it does look like that could be a Valiant insignia, a ship that has been mentioned in the past but never shown on screen during the 23rd century, so it could theoretically be a destroyer. Or it could be an assignment they had between the Farragut and his time as a captain on a destroyer. And then if you look at this, one keen-eyed Trekkie pointed out that, look, he is on the bridge and he is in the captain's seat, but if you look at the displays in the background, that is clearly not the Enterprise, that's another ship. Now, if you notice with the dimmer lighting and the darker appeal to it, aesthetic, it is very possible that that is a warship and possibly our destroyer, as in warships tend to have less of a flamboyant, fun color, and it's more like the dark, gungy, cave-like feeling that you might get on the Discovery. Why the Discovery had that, I don't know. Once again, something I don't think they thought out. It's hard to have faith in current Trek right now. Discovery did absolutely everything in its power to violate canon, down from aesthetics to just basic ideas. I'm sorry, I'm dissing Trek. I've been a bad boy. I apologize for insulting you, but I don't apologize for my opinion. That's right, they're not doing wonderful at maintaining canon, and there's actually already some promotional art. There's actually Strange New World one that seems to show a homage to all of Trek over the years. They have all sorts of images from different eras. This could be a time travel episode. The thing that is most jarring and scary about that image is there's an image of a Borg cube on there. Please don't bring in the Borg. Please don't bring in the Borg. I take back all the insults on Discovery. Whatever you want me to, just don't do it. Don't do it. We've seen enough of these guys. Can they fight some 23rd century villains, please? But Paul Wesley seems to be our man. The question is, And do you like Paul Wesley? Is this a good casting or not? What are your thoughts on how Paramount Plus has been handling Trek so far? And do you think Stranger Worlds is the show that I'm hoping it is? The show that is good enough to save us from ourselves, to save us from all the bad Trek we've been forced to watch so far? Please let me know down in the comments. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis for more analysis of sci-fi, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, and all the news that is fit to print. Until next time, ciao for now.